And so we are back, guys, with another wonderful chapter review of Katekyo Hitman REBORN, and we are finally at chapter 128, and it was pretty straightforward. So if you remember from 127, basically we have where Gokudera and Hibari now joined into the fray, because originally Leviton and Belgafor were able to get the antidotes from the rings, because Zanzis was able to shoot down their towers, and so they were able to get their respective rings to administer the antidote in their stopwatches, and so they started to go on the attack. But then we had it where Hibari, like, this guy cannot be put down. He does not like to be restrained, hence why he is the Cloud Guardian. Clouds cannot be restrained, clouds cannot be restricted. He managed to knock down one of the towers that contained the Storm Ring, because we have where Leviton especially was going to go after Lambo. He still has beef with a 5-year-old. Like, everything is for Zanzis, even if it means taking out basically a little kid, right? And remember, Lambo is on a defibrillator, right? So even those who are injured from their previous battles had to come for this final battle. It was no questions asked. Being on an defibrillator or being strapped up in your hospital bed, you had to be there for the last battle. So while Zanzis and Suna is fighting and Suna was worrying, we have eventually where Hibari and Gokudera were practically fine. So they decided both to respectively face off against both Leviton and Belgafor. So we have where the beginning of chapter 128, it continues on where Gokudera and Hibari were facing both against both of them. So it was Gokudera versus Leviton, and of course he's trying to protect Lambo because there's no way for Lambo to get up and fight and everything. He's still unconscious as is, on top of the poison that is slowly killing him and everyone else. So while Leviton is just like, get out of my way, I'm here to destroy that kid and get the ring and everything, Gokudera is making sure that Lambo is protected. So he's goading Leviton to basically use his technique, the same one he used against Lambo. He's thinking that, that same lightning technique with the umbrellas is only used for cases of when it is raining. But Leviton has told us by this chapter that technically his ability to use the umbrellas to conduct lightning is all year round, is all weather round. So he uses it. But as we know with Gokudera and his whole training with Shamal has proved to be fruitful, and it's best used for more open spaces versus closed spaces, aka his fight going back good chapters ago with his fight with Belgafor. His technique with using the dynamites to throw in all directions. Remember, his training with Shamal was using paper airplanes and making sure that his dynamite actually connected with the paper planes. So we saw finally his training has come more fruitful, so much more so in an outside or open space setting. So when Leviton used his umbrellas, Gokudera used his dynamite and it hit all the targets and everything. And when you thought that it ended, no, they kept going in all directions and eventually hit Leviton. So Leviton is injured once more. Okay, and he managed to rescue Lambo. Might I add, even we have where Reborn was going in the sense of like both lightning and storm are like brothers. So many of the times, even though you see where Gokudera is, comically harsh towards Lambo because Lambo is very annoying, you can understand why he would say something about, lightning and storm being brothers, because it's very much screams, the relationship of Gokudera and Lambo does scream very much older brother, little brother. Little brother annoys the hell out the older brother, but the older brother still cares in some sense for the younger one, especially if they're injured. So while he administered the antidote to Lambo, he gathers up Lambo to run off to go find the other guardians to go help them so they can all help Suna. Mind you, nobody can really interfere in their fight, but it's, he doesn't really care about that sense. So now we get into the fight with Hibari and Belgafor. Now, obviously these two are talking smack and everything. Even Belgafor is calling, "Oh, your name is Ace." Where in the alphabet is Ace and Hibari the same? This is how you know, like, he was doing this to get under Hibari's skin and everything. He just doesn't care. So these two are like, you're on your last leg. One of your legs is injured. talking smack, they go off on each other. Of course, Bell is using the same tactics he used against Kukadera when they had their fight with the wires and the knives. And every time, like, Hibari is deflecting the knives because he thinks that's the main objective. If he gets hit by those, he gets cut, but he doesn't realize that he's also dealing with the invisible or semi-translucent wires that he can't necessarily see. So he deflects the knives, but he's getting cut up by the wires. It comes to the point where he's starting to bleed all over the place. And just before Bell was able to finish it off, and he threw the knives at Hibari, Hibari was able to catch them, and he realized, oh, so you're using wires. This is something weak people or herbivores do. Now, I will say this in terms of his tonfas. This is just version 1 of the tonfas and how they're used. Remember, his teacher was Dino. So Dino uses a whip. So the extension part of the tonfas came out. So he started to wield them to cut down all the wires. And he's trying to go after Bell. But Bell is technically the smarter fighter in this entire battle. He realizes, you know, instead of letting this go on and, you know, getting myself more injured, I practically won this fight because look at you versus look at me, right? So he runs off and lets Hibari just basically bleed out. And the wounds are actually a lot deeper than he realizes. So he has to, you know, sit down and take a break because he's losing a lot of blood as time goes on because of the open wounds. So while, yes, it wasn't such a major fight, but in terms of tactical reasonings, Bell was a smarter fighter than Hibari. Hibari is more brute force. Let me go and charge my way through to beat down on my enemy. And Bell just read the entire room. So he was right when he said he won the fight. In that fight particularly, he won. I know that might be distasteful to a lot of Hibari fans, but it is true. Like, Hibari lost. Like, he was going to just go and pulverize Bell, but Bell was a lot more quick thinking, hence why he's called a genius. Hibari may be a fighting monster and everything, cool fights, but like against people that can know how to read the room, yeah, probably one of his greatest weaknesses. Okay, and also on that, he's also hot-headed as well. So yeah, that's his downfall. So while that's happening, we see the fight with Suna and Zanzis, and it's getting more intense. Zanzis is getting faster and faster as the fight is continuously going on, to the point that Suna is barely scrapping by. He's barely dodging the attacks. We hear where Zanzis, like, he, after his clips are finished and everything, he reloads the clips, then starts shooting multiple rounds at Suna. Just so you know that his clothing was reinforced and created by Leon, so it's like it has 10 times the amount of fabric on it, but he blasted away the vest, and so Suna is like down on one leg. He got knocked into the building and everything. And so like right now at this point in time, at the time that Zanzis shot one of his many rounds, Suna was able to avoid it or deflect it in a way, but he still crashed into the building. So despite Zanzis getting faster, Suna is still able, even though it's only a little bit, able to evade a multitude of his shots, right? So it comes to the point in the manga, which is so freaking cool. Okay, my boy Suna starts to kind of get up. He's kneeling though. He starts to get up, and then he does this move that, like, unless you've read and watched the anime multiple times, or you just remember this particular moment, it is so iconic because this is not going to be the first time we see Suna does this. But like we see where like they're, you know, other characters that's watching, Shamal, Colonello, Basil and everything, and Reborn, and they're talking like, you know, Suna, if he doesn't do something real quick, Zanzis is going to basically demolish him. And then we also have where Reborn is just like, you know, in this entire situation, in this fight, Suna knows that very well, so hence why he's about to pull off this particular move. So then Suna is starting to bring his hands together, and even though again this manga and everything, you can tell by the panel there's like faint circles. going around his fingers, right? And he has this very calm, collected look, like a very concentrated, calm look on his face. And it ends off on there. So like I said, if you have read the manga before already, or you watched the anime before, you've seen it in the opening. Okay, they showed it in the opening, particularly around this particular arc. You saw it in the opening. You saw it used for the first time in the anime, and obviously you saw it for the first time in the manga, right? And I'm not going to talk about what this particular move is, but you will see in next chapter, and it's one of his coolest moves in his entire arsenal, his move set that he has, and is connected to something. I'm not going to say. If you are a first timer, I'm not going to say what it is. If you guys who are already fans of the series, don't say what it is. Don't say what it is. But again, this is one of the coolest moves Suna has. It is. I can't even say the word. I can't even say the word, bro. But like, be hype for next chapter, because and next chapter and going forward with this particular technique, because this is a technique Suna has been trying to master ever since the whole scramble battle. I can tell you that he's been trying to master this particular technique since the scramble battle was announced. Okay, ever since the warrior came to Japan to try to get the half rings of the Vongola, he's been trying to master this technique, and Reborn is the only one that knows what Suna is trying to accomplish within this fight by trying to utilize, by basically forming the sign to start conducting this technique to be utilized within this fight. So that's basically the end of chapter 128. Okay, again, if you guys are new to the series, do tell me how you felt about chapter 128. If you are watching the anime of this series, do tell me if you guys know the exact episode this chapter has ended on. Please do tell in the comment section below. If you are a manga reader, of course, tell us how you felt about when you saw this particular moment the first time, whether it be in the manga or in the anime. How do you feel about this particular moment, this technique that defied Suna from going on into further chapters, and overall just what Suna is capable of doing? The links are in the description box, so you guys go check that out. And I'm Kimmy-chan, and I will see you guys later. Bye!